Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
This YouTube video is sponsored by StoneAgeGamer.com. StoneAgeGamer.com is your #1 source for everything related to your retro gaming experience, including new controllers and accessories from Hyperkin and Retrobit, as well as the complete Everdrive line of products by Krikzz and the complete Terra Onion collection, including the Mega SD and the Super SD System 3. Visit StoneAgeGamer.com today. Use the link down below in the description, and thank you for your support. What's up, everybody? Twin Family back at you. John Schaefer, your host, and we have something for you today. So, live from quarantine. I'm not exactly live. I'm shooting this in advance, so you're going to see it in a couple weeks or whenever it goes up. But you seen the McWill Game Gear the last time that we did a video for you, and you seen the first look at it, but now you're going to get to see the whole shit and shebang, the kit and caboodle. Only a couple people have this. It's so new that not the people that order from Krikzz don't even have it yet, but a couple of us YouTubers do. I'm one of them. I actually got mine after Retro RGB, but before Mad Little Pixel did. Somewhere in the middle. But I didn't get a chance to do anything yet, simply because, like I said, I was waiting for the Game Gear. But now that I have it, I can fully unveil and present to you the Everdrive Game Gear X7. So now with this one, the Everdrive line has fully been updated, because this was the last holdout. The Master System one was updated sometime last year, and now its little brother, its superior cousin, whatever you want to call it, got updated. Because this was the last one that needed updating. It was so bad that I remember I got the Everdrive Game Gear, the previous version, which you've seen me do a review of a long time ago. I got one for my buddy recently because that was his Game Gear, and the board was still from 2014. But this one is literally the Master Everdrive X7 in a smaller case and playable on the Game Gear. Now, if you have a Master Everdrive X7 using the adapter, you can play it on a Game Gear. It's cumbersome, but it can be done. But this one, you don't have to worry, especially now that this baby, it's got the glass screen, got the VGA. It's pretty much been consoleized. All you need to do is literally hook it up to the OSSC, power it with the power plug, or if you really want to chew through batteries, put batteries in there, which I don't recommend. Power hookup, VGA cable. You can literally just sit back, and especially since I got a 15-footer, you can literally just sit back, play Game Gear on your big screen. So you basically now have a mini, especially with this, you have a mini consoleized Game Gear / Master System that you can also just use the power and play in bed, which is great. I love the idea of it. I used my friend's Game Gear in bed, even though the screen was shit, and I still love the idea of it. In here is, don't mind me, that's the tenants playing outside. In this, you have the complete Game Gear, Master System, and SG-1000 libraries in here. So the same as with the Mega SD from Terra Onion and the Mega Everdrive from Krikzz. It seems like all Sega products, especially since all of them were backwards compatible back when backwards compatible was a thing, you literally in 2 cartridges can play a lot of the Sega library. So with this little baby, you can play the Game Gear, Master System, SG-1000, and with the, well, your drug of choice, either the Mega SD or the Mega Everdrive, you can play Sega Genesis, Master System, 32X if you've got the little mushroom attachment, And with the Mega SD, you can play CDs. So in 2 cartridges, say if you have a Mega SD and you got one of these or the Master Everdrive, obviously you need the converter if you're going to play on the Game Gear, but still, with this and with the Mega SD, you have every single Sega game on consoleized up until the Saturn. Think about that. We're talking, let's see, about 6 Sega systems in 2 carts. You got the SG-1000, you got the Master System, Genesis, Sega CD, Sega 32X, and this little puppy, the Game Gear. 6 Sega systems, which also should tell you how bad Sega was back in the day. Look, I love Nintendo. Everybody knows that. I hope from the last video that shows it. But also I was a Sega kid. You know, I had a Sega Genesis. My godmother had a Sega Genesis. She loved it. She had the Sega CD also. She was a big Sega nut. So I grew up with both. Didn't grow up so much around the Super Nintendo, but I grew up around the NES and the Genesis, and the Sega CD, and the 32X when I went to her house. And also the time I stayed at her house for a couple of years, for like about 1.5 years, 2 years. So I grew up around Sega, and those 2 carts should tell you 6 systems. Well, the SG-1000 they weren't supporting, obviously, but in 1995, well, obviously not the Pico, but nobody gives a shit about the Pico. I completely forgot about that, and holy shit, that just took me a place I don't want to go. So you figure in 1995, Sega was supporting 6 systems. 7, technically. They were supporting the Master System in Brazil. They were supporting the Genesis, the Sega CD, the 32X, Game Gear, Pico, Saturn. 7 systems in 1995. And you wonder why Sega made the decision to only focus on the Saturn and dump everything else. I'd say the mid-90s was great for a Sega kid, especially if you had a Genesis. Once they canceled all that shit, imagine the games and Toys R Us that you could pick up all of a sudden at clearance prices. Genesis systems, Sega CD systems, some of them did have them. 32Xs for $20. Genesis and 32X games and Sega CD games and Game Gear games for $5 each. Think about that. That's fucking crazy, right? This takes you back there. You got the Genesis, you got the Game Gear, Master System SG-1000 on here. And like I said, the Mega SD, you got the Genesis, Master System, 32X, and Sega CD. And Krikzz is supposed to be coming out with a version of the Mega Everdrive that also does Sega CD, but at a cheaper price. So we're looking forward to that. But this little baby packs a wallop, but maybe $130. And yes, that's how much it costs. $130, but it packs a huge wallop. Not only you can to play those 3 systems, but it's got save states. So now you could finish all those Game Gear games that don't have saves, which is great. Also, it's got the back to menu, the faster loading, but a big one to us real big Game Gear fans, this finally plays Gun Star Heroes. I just wish it had the FM, but I don't think it does. So we pop this in, and by the way, casing is brilliant. And you got the micro SD card on top. Let me try to do it with my nail. It's spring loaded. Of course, I have to use the nail to get it in and out. I'm guessing there was victory over there. So that's one plus already, is that you don't have to open up the cart to replace the SD card, and it's not a tight fit anymore. So if you get, I don't think Krikzz sells it by the board anymore. I think he just sells it with the cart, with the case. He doesn't sell the board only anymore. So obviously this is the McWill unit, and I showed a little bit of it in the last video. So button 1 is your select, button 2 is your cancel and your options menu. Excuse me. Damn. Maybe you try to edit that out, but whatever. So you got start last game. You have options, and in that options you have the in-game menu on or off. I have it set to off, but I'll turn it on real quick. The hotkeys defaulted at up and 1 and 2, which if you're playing certain games, you're going to trigger the menu quite a bit. I've noticed that in my gameplay. The start button is not used. I'm guessing because of the McWill mod and all that stuff, but I just, and now obviously Game Gear only has 1, 2, and the control pad, but it doesn't have the start and select. It just has start. I wish there was a way that that was different. This could have definitely benefited from having one of those push buttons like the Game Boy cart has. I don't know why that wasn't implemented. I would have preferred to have seen that. But trust me, a lot of times you'll want the menu off unless you know for sure you got a good combination. I still haven't found one yet. Hide SMS sys is set to on. How you put the firmware on here is you download the OS update from his site and you put the entire SMS sys folder in. I made that mistake. I just put the binary in. Like with the last Game Gear Everdrive, you don't do that. You put the full folder in there. So I had to fix that. So we got recently played, which you can see I played quite a bit. Random game, obviously, where they take a random game out of the library and play it for you. Device info, as you see, mine is the game, obviously Game Gear X7, OS version 104, FPGA Type 3, system type, which is Game Gear NTSC. Assembly date is February the 25th, and assembly time was 9:30. I'm guessing that's in the morning. Power CNTR. Oh, power counter 16. So in using this cartridge, it's been turned on and off 16 times. That's good. So you could tell how old it is or whatever. So we're going to cancel that out. Diagnostics. So we're going to do that real quick, show you how it works. This is to make sure your Everdrive is in fully working order, which it should be. I don't see why it wouldn't be. Let's see here. I'm hearing something. Like, I guess it's reading the SD card because it's making a bit of noise. All right, write speed is 116K. SW speed is 122K. Read speed is 1254, so like a megabyte a second. Copy file to RAM, press any key. All right, and then you got about, and you got the credits there, and it shows you how it works. And I'm gonna go back here. Obviously, I got to use fat sorter for this, so I'm guessing you still have to do that. I thought you didn't, but I guess you do. Obviously, it plays Game Gear, Master System, and SG-1000. So I'm going to play a quick Game Gear game. Actually, I should just do the big guns right off. And I will be doing gameplay footage of all of this, by the way. So we're going to do Gunstar Heroes. And this is one of those games where that up and 1 and 2 isn't exactly the best. You can see it's working. And this is usually the part where it would fuck up, but as you can see, it's not fucking up. Not just a little bit of the garbage on the top of the screen. That's to be expected. As you can see, it's working. I mean, there is a little bit of garbage, like right around here that I didn't see on the other Game Gear, but the McWill is showing it. But it's playable. And that's a big improvement because it wasn't playable beforehand. Try not to trigger the up in 1 and 2. You can see it's hard to do that, especially in a game like Gunstar Heroes. So there may be a little artifacting on this game, but it's working. Now we're going to do the up in 1 and 2. Save state, load state, and back to menu. So we're going to load state. Now we beat him. Go load state. Oh, what the fuck? What the fuck? Did you see? Wait. Did you see this? I used the save state and I got to this boss. Well, shit. It just moved me forward by a lot. I was not expecting. I guess there's still bugs to work out. It's playable, but there are bugs to work out still. This is just insane. And I can hit him, but he's not hitting me. Oh, now he is. Okay. I literally skipped half a level doing the save state. That's insane. Okay, let's go back to the menu. So, Krikzz, I guess there's still some bugs to work out here, buddy. Okay, so we're going to go back. We're going to try a Master System game now. And I want to do a Master System game where we can get right into it. Which is Sonic the Hedgehog. And the one good thing about the Everdrive this time that I think was missing last time, if I'm not mistaken, was it immediately goes into Master System mode, which means a smaller screen. The Everdrive really didn't do that before. And it isn't the McWill because it did this on my friend's system too. And by the way, there are some Game Gear games, most notably in my case, WrestleMania Steel Cage Challenge. Yes, they were released for the Game Gear, but they were just... It was just an SMS ROM and a Game Gear cart. So if you look in the no intro set, there's no entry for WrestleMania Steel Cage Challenge. It's literally just in the Master System library. So that's the SMS. And you can see even the in-game menu shrunk for that. Now it goes back to Game Gear mode. Now we're going to try the SG-1000. And we're going to go to Sega Galaga. Start. After a green screen, now we're in SG-1000 mode. So for $129, now, as I basically mentioned, I think for the average person, $170 for the NES cart, the Everdrive N8 Pro is a little much, especially if you're not a huge fanatic. But for everyone, $130 for a Game Gear Everdrive that could play Game Gear, Master System, and SG-1000, especially if you have the McWill kit, it's definitely worth the amount. Especially since you got save states. The one thing that I see already that is missing is the FM support. I'm hoping that's added at a later date. I mean, they have the FPGA in the system to be able to do it. I'm hoping it gets done. But for now, until my final impressions, from what I've played so far and what I've seen already here, I wish they could do the in-game menu a lot better. That's my biggest complaint, and it's going to be a huge complaint even for you, because you're going to run into a lot of instances where no matter what you set as your preset, it's not going to work. Maybe a little bit of a delay before it goes to the in-game menu would be fine, which can be easily implemented. But for right now, it's an amazing piece of kit, and I highly, highly recommend this, especially if you're a Sega fan. You get this, you get the Mega SD, or you wait a little bit, wait for Krikzz to come out with his Mega Everdrive with the CD support. You pretty much got every single Sega console game up until the Saturn. It's well worth it, especially when you got one of these bad boys. So for now, this is John Schaefer signing off. Look for gameplay footage to come. Stay safe out there. And remember, it's always darkest before the dawn. And you can run from a virus, like I said, but you can't run from the monster in your own head. So if you can, stay at home. Personally, if you're a healthy person, as long as you wear a mask and gloves and protective gear, volunteer. Go out. Fuck them. Go out. Leave the house. But do it right. Help volunteer at a hospital. Amazon and UPS and everybody's looking, grocery stores are looking for workers. Help people out. Be on the front lines. Or something as little as running grocery store food errands for your elderly or at-risk family members, neighbors, friends. If you're healthy, just do whatever you can. We need all the help we can get. I know it's a thankless job, but somebody's got to do it. I am, but I still take the proper precautions. I wear gloves, I wear a mask, especially when living with a senior citizen. You don't want them to get sick. Or say if you have health issues like cancer survivor, heart attack survivor, anything that can compromise your immune system. So if you're at risk or you're elderly, stay home. Don't leave the fucking house. But if you can, if you're a healthy person and you really want to help instead of just sitting on your ass and making Instagram videos telling people to stay home, which I'm sorry, to me that's a pet peeve. You got a bunch of elitists who make millions of dollars. You sit at home, they make videos telling you to stay home or doing stupid little videos thinking they're funny and they're not. Whereas there are people out there actually putting their ass, including some of my friends, putting their asses on the line to make sure, for example, you get your precious Grubhub, you get your food to the restaurant, or who's at the grocery store on the front lines getting people checked in and out, or who's working security so there's no riots, or that there's that people stay 6 feet apart and get what they need, or Lewis working at the airport who's feeding the employees, who's bringing in all these doctors and all these ventilators and everything that we need and all these planes coming in and out. To everyone on the front lines, thank you for your fucking sacrifice. You are amazing. You are the real fucking heroes. But to everyone else who's just thinking they're helping by staying home and doing stupid videos, you are not helping. You're being a hindrance. And don't pretend. Do not pretend like you're not one of us, because now with this virus, all of us are here. We're all equal. We are all on house arrest. We're all locked in our homes. You're not better than me. I'm not better than you. We are all equal right now. And the sooner y'all realize that, the better off we're all going to be. So if you can, if you've got the ability, put on that mask, put on that gloves, get out of the house and do something. Otherwise, just stay put, just be a good citizen, and leave the hard work to the rest of us. But a little appreciation would suffice, just a thank you here and there, for those people who are still out and about and trying to move this country along while you sit on your ass at home. That's all we want. I may be disabled, but at least I'm trying to get out there and helping my neighbors and my family members and my friends who are at risk. I got friends that are heart, you know, that have heart issues. I got friends who are cancer survivors. I got, obviously, my aunt here with, you know, her health issues. My neighbor who's on the road 24/7 trying to bring supplies to people. His wife is at home and she's, you know, she's elderly herself. You know, just something small like that is enough to do something. It doesn't, you don't have to be Superman. You just got to have a super heart. So from here to you, take it easy, be safe out there.